going, William.
Thanks.
This is all for the Alex Hormozi event. So you can clear out here from Salt Lake to Vegas, come to this event. It's tomorrow, 8 a.m. It's 1 in the morning my time, so it's gonna suck getting up tomorrow. Still walking. It's like transit all the way down. Now we're trying to get on the Uber. So just finished up day one at the Alex Hormozi event, and I wanted to just very quickly record these for this episode. Just had a couple late nights, so I don't really have a ton of time to be able to add to these, but I do want to continue the streak that we have here of continuing to do these episodes. So just go through a couple things that I learned today, along with all the other random content that you already saw on today's episode of things that I did while I was out here. One was a random one that had happened. It was not planned. It was more of like a thought process that happened while Alex Hormozi ended up talking today at the very end. What was funny to me is when you go to these events, obviously people want to network, right? They want to talk to one another. We all paid a good amount of money to be there, so you want to get to know one another while you're there. So people end up talking. You got to be pretty social. And of course, people are going to ask you what it is that you do, what it is that your business is, all that kind of stuff. So literally people would come up to me, ask me what I do. I tell them what I do, Salesforce consulting. They ask why that's important, how that helps people. And I would use the phrases, you don't want to make gut feeling decisions. You want to make decisions based on data. It's going to make you scale it slower because you can't trust the data if you don't have it. Literally those phrases. And it wasn't until the very end of the day, Alex Hormozi gets up. He's not even pitching CRMs. He's literally giving us a breakdown as to how a business would scale. And there was always a bottom thing that they would get to that would say, you need to have CRM. And this is the reason why you can't make decisions based on gut feelings. You will move slower. You can't scale the business. And so it was kind of funny in that moment because when I would say it, and this makes complete sense, and I'll get back to why I'm okay with all this, but I'm just pointing it out first, which is when I would say it, nobody gives a crap. Everybody's just glazed over, half paying attention, giving you the courtesy to say whatever it is that you do. And while he's up there literally using the exact same phrases as me, people are like, oh, they're writing it down in their notebook, word for word, what he's saying. Yeah, gotta have a CRM, can't make gut feeling decisions. I'm gonna move slower. I'm literally watching the people talk to me as I'm telling them that to their face during breaks that we had, not care. And then he gets up, says it, and they're like writing this down as something that's super important. That was like, it caught him off guard. It was so good. They had to write it down so they don't forget it. And obviously, one, they should, because, right, he's got a million times more social proof than me. He's got a track record. They're literally paying $5,000 a pop to be at this thing, to see him and listen to him. So where I'm going with this is helping me, I get the idea down to double down on the content that we're doing right now, this personal branding stuff, because with him getting up there, not even pitching a service or a product, just telling you it's important, the trust was way higher. People listened. People want to take action. So those are kind of the three things I saw just by him having such a strong personal brand and brand within the company and track record, reputation, right? So having those things, how much easier that would be to sell. So it put me in a rabbit hole of thinking like my competition. You'll think about those things a lot where it's like, how do I be different than these guys? Like, how am I going to care and all this kind of stuff like that to differentiate myself? And that was like a big indicator right there where it was like, man, if people just trusted you and liked your brand and liked who you were, it's not really a competition. They're choosing you versus the other person because they prefer you. So that was one really cool indirect lesson that I felt like I learned from that and just kind of doubling down on doing your own branding. Okay, so I really set this, so I just have this on my back, but I figured I would go through some of the things I learned from the 2 days at the event and some good takeaways. So number one, I'll go through things that I saw them do, so how they operated their business and things I picked up on from them that I thought were super helpful. So I'll talk about that because there was a lot of stuff I watched them do that I would love to incorporate in my own business that I thought were helpful. And then I'll go through two other tactical learning things here. Show this off. So what you get, you spend, maybe we'll start with that. What did I get out of the event? It's probably the most interesting thing. They give you both books. Technically, they try to sell you on the fact that Alex Hormozi does not sign the books ever. And they make that a big deal. He never signs books. Yeah, we got him to do it for you. And so they sent that out on the last one, which was maybe one thing if they're kind of making that up. But the fact is they gave it to you, did it, and it was just a cool extra thing here. So unexpected. I've noticed they did that a couple times on the gift giving where it was just an unexpected nice thing to do. And I liked that part about how they ran the event because I've spent way more money at this point inside the business for different services. And when we do that, I don't even send you a pack of gum, man, or anything that's branded. So just the fact that they gave you anything for $5,000 was awesome. So you got the books. And then the first day when I walked out, they gave me a gift basket as well with like some chocolates, a mug that has their thing on it. So you do get some stuff, which was cool. So that was a cool piece of it. The other piece that I noticed watching them kind of do everything the whole time is just like professionalism. So they were like super buttoned up on everything that they did. And I was trying to pay attention to how that was making me feel, especially we're in a people facing business consulting, obviously trying to pay attention. How does this make me feel that the fact that all these people are dressed up the way that they are? So all the guys, I don't know if this was chance, looking more and more, it looked like everything was scripted out. So I don't think it was, but the guys, they all wore blue suits, blue shirt, brown shoes for the most part. There was a few here or there that had black shoes. And there may have even been someone in a black suit. If there was someone in a different suit, it was either they weren't on the floor with us the majority of the time, like they came down to the presentation and they do a different job function, or it was specific main guy that led it or a gray suit. So I was just noticing like all that little stuff. The wait staff wore black to blend in. There's black curtains everywhere, so that you didn't really notice them picking up your drinks and that kind of thing. Same with stage crew. If they had to move stuff around, you didn't notice them because they blend into the scenery. So all of that kind of stuff I noticed was just super buttoned up. They didn't leave anything for chance. In fact, jokes that they tell you, right, are baked into the presentations and they're notating on positive of the joke lands, it doesn't land. They should switch it, how people react. So tons of feedback, and whether that was live feedback or like make us take a survey at the end, but feedback was a huge thing that I saw them do, which is the more data, which leads into this tactical stuff I'll talk about next, but like basically make decisions on data. That's a number one thing we talk about in our consulting. But with that being said is the data, there's a lot of things that we think of. I'll go into this next. So I guess number one to end that thought is just how buttoned up everything was. Like it looked professional. It made me feel like they were professional. It made me feel like I could trust them. It made me feel like they had my best interest. So they really took a lot of time to do a lot of sit down with you. They basically, day one is a bunch of education, I should say, where it's like, here's everything you would need to know to sell your business. Here's what's going to add value to your business. Here's what's going to subtract value from your business, and not hypotheticals. You have a workbook right here that you go through. And this workbook, inside of it, they make you do all these exercises so you can find out the hypothetical value of your own business. So you get this huge thing when you sit down, and it's really meaty. Has a bunch of stuff in here that you fill out and you go along with and take notes on. One of these, let's flip to it. Value detractors, right? And they'll start you off, and this is like what's on the screen. They'll go through this kind of thing and make specific notes in here, as you can see going through it. So all of that was very awesome, but it was more education the first day. They were going to lecture you on this and tell you what it's all about, so that they say they do it that way so that the next day when we have Q&A, you're better prepared to ask a question that's not elementary. You know a better way that you should craft your question and more specific. So that's day one. Day two was just straight Q&A. So you walk in, they split you into groups. The second day, maybe 10 of us per group. I don't know how they come up with the groups. It felt like a lot of people in my group, for the most part, were in my revenue of 1 million. There were people that were far above 1 million in there too. The demographic, I think they said for us, it was like people were above 1 million. So I was definitely in the minority with that group. And then they have all the department heads that come around and talk to you about what it is that you learn about the thing that they're good at. So, strategy, marketing, sales. So they make the rounds with all of that. And then you could ask them specific questions in that roundtable about your business, and then they would answer them. So I loved number two, day two, because it was just like literally any question you have, like, we'll give you like a starting point and give you like basically night red light if this is on the right track or not. So that was great. So that's the event. Okay. So everything, got the 2 books, got some basket stuff. Day one, day two, you did actually see Alex Hormozi. Day one, he comes out for, I think it was like an hour or two. The last hour, just to kind of was a pitch for something else, like basically what they could help you out with. That one goes from $5,000 to $35,000. You get 2 sessions where you're there and they work like directly with your team, essentially. Right now it's $35,000. They said they're going to move it up to $65,000 in the near future. So that's what you get with that one. I didn't opt in for that. I feel like I have plenty of stuff to work on now. And it's not an information problem at this point for me. It's more just actually doing the stuff. So that's the whole event. So all the tactical advice, I guess should I put that away to talk about what it is that I learned specifically. But yeah, they got a little badge, put your business name on there, like what group you're. I'm gonna do just some of these notes that I had because there was like a really good like golden nugget. Mary, pause this and find some. Okay, so here's this one was from Alex on day 2. He did a whole keynote on like sales things, basically like handling like demands a little bit better. There was one in here that was where he just like walked, these types of questions, it's a timing issue. If it's these kind of preference issue, if it's these kind of questions, it's an ROI issue. So he broke all of that down. One thing that I wrote here that was applicable to me was, this was something I screwed up on recently. So this was like interesting to me. Basically it was, for an unreasonable demand. So the example he uses is like, hey, we buy this product. We want your cell phone number so that we can text you whenever we want in case we have problems. And it's like, that's an unreasonable demand. You're not going to do that. So you never want to lose a sale on somebody asking that. And the reason that you do is it puts you in a position where you feel like you only have 2 choices. You either say yes and close the deal, or you say no and you lose the deal. And I had kind of this where recently we were working with somebody. They asked me to basically reduce a bunch of this bid that we put in And looking at it from this angle now, what I should have done was this, and I wouldn't have lost it, I don't think. But instead I did the binary thing. Like, can't do that. So, what it is. And I lost the deal. Which is this one. He was saying like, you should always go towards like what intention means. So if they ask for the phone number, like dive to be like, hey, great question. I'm assuming that the intention of that question is X. Like, I'm assuming the intention of you asking for my phone number is you don't want there to be any gaps or feel like you have all the attention from us so that we get the stuff done. So what we are going to do is we're going to invite you to a private Slack channel. It's not going to be my phone number, but you'll have private access to me and my team. We'll be able to do these things and make sure we take care of it. So that would have been a good redirect, something I ran into. Let me find another one. Okay, this one's from, just make sure I'm not boarding. This one was from a lady named Sammy. She was great. I really liked Sammy and a guy named Tim that came around. They were more strategy and operations, so it was really up what I was get done. One thing that she had called out, this was more of like a green light. And when I say green light, for me, it's more of like when I go to these events, sometimes it's like a matter of like vote of confidence that like, hey, yeah, it's, should be doing something you should spend time on. And I think when you're in this world running your own business, a lot of the time you're like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm mixing up. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. So it's nice to hear from somebody much more successful from you that's done this if, you're on the right path, essentially. So the thing I liked that she had called out is she had like a big background in like e-com, a bunch of stuff beforehand in tech, really smart, really good with numbers, very data driven person, you could tell. But she was just saying like, whatever it is that makes you unique in your industry, you need to spend at least 10% of your earnings, if not more, on continuing to reinvest in that thing. So if it's like right now you're like a entrepreneur or like your new business, you should at least take 10% of your earnings and put that back into your own education. So it kind of makes you feel good and not guilty about like going to this. Like, yes, it's a good thing. You are learning. You need to get skills. You need to spend money on that. You should be buying books. You should be going to webinars. You should be going to conferences. She used a high level example, big enterprise level, which is like Google. Like Google is known for innovation. If they did not spend at least 10%, or they probably spend way more in some kind of research and development, like innovation, well then Microsoft, like she gave the example, like let's say they never invested in AI, only Microsoft did. Microsoft comes out with like whatever it is that they have, they never come out with Gemini, and then they just get swamped by their competition, right? So it's like super for them to keep investing in the thing that makes them them. Like you have to do it. So I thought that was a cool thing to just like remember we're doing that with our business. Yeah, awesome event. Like I said, the biggest mistake I made was just this flight crap coming back home super early. But yeah, back now and looking forward to kind of giving the take with my team, bringing down things that I liked about it, and trying to make some of those changes as well. As, you saw a bunch of stuff in there. So all those other notes that I saw that were a lot more tactical for me that I'm going to plan to implement. And yeah, super stoked with all the information and excited to get that all put into the business.